Hey everyone, welcome to Seropotomy today. I'm Lindy, back at you with another video. So today I decided to listen to some of my viewers and the comments that they had made and their request. I got a lot of feedback on that video I made where I had my daughter Kina on the video, and we were talking a lot about starseed and spiritual type topics, metaphysical type stuff, and also just like paranormal, you know, things like this, like rainbow, indigo, crystal children type topics. And I got a lot of feedback, and people really seemed like they were interested in wanting more of that, and maybe understanding a little bit more how we can integrate these concepts into our lives with our children, and how we can be teachers to them and just talk to them more about these things. So I just thought I would make this video today and talk a little bit about that kind of stuff, and like talking to your children about these types of things. And so I just wanted to say thanks to James and Erkin Queen 18. This is basically just a response to your comments and you expressing that you wanted to hear a little bit more about this. Now, I would love to get Kina back on a video. I would definitely like to make more videos with her. And I also have another child. I have a 13-year-old son. And he is, well, he has that crystal child energy. I said in the video with Kina that she has more of the rainbow child energy. And my other child has more of a crystal child energy. And it's kind of funny because crystal children, they do not like to be labeled or put in boxes. And so if you try to say this to my son, he was like, "No, I'm not a crystal child, Mom. I'm a Gavin," because that's his name, Gavin. So it's just kind of funny. That's very true about crystal children. They don't even like to be labeled as things like this. But he has a lot of really positive, I would say masculine energy going on in him as well. And he's like an old soul, and I've always been able to talk to him about these bigger concepts that I can't even talk to some adults with, or, you know, concepts that I can't even really discuss with certain grown adults. He's very open and very interested, especially in ETs and like different ET beings and races out there in the cosmos. He's very interested in that and very fascinated with that. So, you know, we talk a lot about things like that. But also another thing that I really do with my children is they're also, both of them are very into crystals and gems. So stones, healing stones. And they also believe in Reiki and how it can really help them. So I, of course, practice Reiki on both of my children. My entire family I practice Reiki on. And we're all really into crystals and the healing power of crystals and plants and essential oils, just everything from Mother Earth. We're very in tune to the healing properties of Mother Earth and the things that grow here on Earth and that are natural. We're really into self-care and healing in a very natural way. So I would say that that is a way that you could really encourage your children to connect with themselves and connect to Mother Earth is by getting them into crystals, maybe educating them on some of the properties that certain crystals have. Also, you know, opening them up to getting some Reiki done, because that has been really great for my children as well, and they've really benefited from getting a Reiki treatment here and there. Another idea too would be maybe to take your children to some of these metaphysical, you know, mind, body, spirit fairs and things like this. You know, we just do so much education at home and things like this that we don't really take our children to those metaphysical fairs. I also think at those metaphysical fairs, sometimes you have to watch out, because there are a lot of very helpful people there and a lot of healers and highly intuitive people. There's also a lot of scammers, unfortunately. That doesn't make it any easier for people who are really truly here to heal and help assist others spiritually and metaphysically, but it's true that there are like a lot of scammers and people like that. So I feel like until you have really learned within yourself how to discern information for yourself, that's a skill that you need to have when you're going into those metaphysical type fairs. Is you definitely need to be in line with your own intuition and how that is for you, because everyone's intuition is a little bit different. And also you've developed some level of discernment, because, you know, of course, as parents, it can be difficult because there's so much information out there, you know, like new age type stuff. I guess you could call I guess I could call myself like a new age type person. But there's also a lot of ancient wisdom and ancient philosophy that I integrate into my belief system and I talk about on my videos. Some of that stuff is not necessarily new age. But I would just say new age is kind of like a blanket statement for all spirituality and metaphysics and like fringe spirituality and things like that that are just outside of religion. So yeah, but I'm not like crazy about that term new age. But you know, you could, I guess, use that term. Anyway, my point is there's a lot of information out there. So what I like to do with my children is work as a filter for them, and the information that I really resonate with, I pass along to my children. And another thing that we do a lot that helps us really deepen our connection with spirit, deepen our connection with ourselves and to Mother Earth, is we get out in nature quite a bit. We do all kinds of stuff out in nature. Luckily, we live in a part of the country that is very close to a metropolitan city. One of the fastest growing metropolitan cities in the country right now. But it's very close to all kinds of nature and open space and things like that. So luckily we have the opportunity, and it's really easy for us to just head to the hills and go for a hike or go biking or whatever we may do. And we really, really enjoy doing that. But another thing that I did want to talk to my viewers about as far as incorporating this type of stuff with your children goes is I think that it's of the utmost importance to embrace and validate whatever experiences they may be having. Okay, So then as they grow up and as they become adults themselves, they will not have to go through such a long unlearning process as a lot of us adults had to go through. I know myself personally. I was raised loosely, not strictly, but loosely going to church growing up. And so Christianity was the belief system that I was exposed to as a child. And I feel really lucky that I've always had a very open mind to the point where I didn't really get stuck in that belief system that, you know, you're going to hell unless you're saved by Jesus Christ and this and this and that. I feel really lucky that I didn't fall into that belief system, and I kept a really open mind, and Christianity never really fully resonated with me. Of course, I think the teachings of Jesus Christ have a lot to offer, and you can learn a lot from Jesus Christ because he is the embodiment of love and light, okay? He is the vibration of love, and he really did try to teach humanity that. But the structure of the church itself, I started figuring this out when I was like a young teenager, that it was there to try and control and manipulate people and put them in a state of fear, and to just think that we're sinners and things like, it just didn't resonate with me. That kind of stuff didn't. Also, it didn't resonate with me how judgmental people were of each other in the church. And so that didn't resonate with me. But I never learned about these other spiritual truths and universal wisdom until I was into adulthood. So I spent a lot of my younger years having like a fundamental kind of idea of what that kind of stuff was and what it meant. But I didn't really like bring that all in and really like harness that energy until I was much older, and I had to go through a lot of unlearning. So I would say it is very important when we're raising children to not discard or shun them or invalidate their experiences. So what I mean by experiences is, you know, a lot of children, we all come to this world very, very close to spirit, okay? And with some of our memories on maybe how to like have an out-of-body experience or astral project, or maybe we might see other entities, and the veil is a little bit thinner when we are very young children. And then as we grow up in society and we start to become conditioned and we don't really pay attention or nurture our intuitive side, that stuff kind of starts to fade away. And we are conditioned, a lot of us, to believe that everything like outside of the physical realm and this physical dimension that we can see with our eyes, all of that stuff is either hogwash and just a bunch of BS, and it is not, it doesn't exist, or we're taught that those types of things are evil and demonic and satanic and things like this. So it can be a large unlearning process that people have to go through as adults when they find out that there is, in fact, a whole nother world. There's other dimensions, there's other beings, there's ghosts, there's all kinds of things that I was told as a child were fantasies and were fairy tales. When in fact, a lot of this is very true and does exist. And just because it is harder to see in this dimension does not mean that it's not real. You know, and so I know when my children have come to me, you know, they've come to me and said that they have seen entities that exist beyond this third dimension. They have seen things and had experiences. I really encourage that in them. I don't tell them that like, oh, it's just a dream or something like this. I really encourage them, and I just am so interested to hear about their experiences. And then that way, they are really going to make that a part of their belief system. So growing up, you know, they're not going to learn to discredit this type of stuff. Okay, like I learned to discredit it. And then I just thought that a lot of the experiences I had when I was younger were fantasy and they were my imagination. And then as I got older, I actually realized that a lot of those experiences I had were in fact real, and that I was just perceiving beyond the veil. And that's what was going on. So I would just say the number one really important thing to do with your children is to encourage them to share their experiences. And if that's just with you as their trusted parent or trusted adult, then that's fine. That's all that they need really, is just, you know, one adult that they look to as an authority figure, telling them, like encouraging them and validating their experiences. So I would say that that is very important to do with your children. Also just try to, you know, expose them to there are children's books written about like starseed type topics that we shared in the last video. Also for me, because I am very into metaphysics and Reiki, and I have a fairly good understanding of our energy body and our chakras and things like that, I teach that to my children. You know, maybe depending on how old they are, you can find some coloring pages so they can learn the colors of the chakras and color those in. You just want to try to make it age appropriate. Okay, so then that they don't get overwhelmed, because that can also be like a negative thing if you're trying to bombard them with too much information before they can really fully understand the information. Then they're just going to reject it, and they're really just not going to be interested in it. So you really want to keep that in mind too. Just, is this age appropriate? And maybe you can find some workshops or something like this in your community that is, you know, oriented to children. And that's why in my last video, I brought up ECETI Ranch, because ECETI Ranch, they do have workshops where children are encouraged to share their experiences. So maybe share their experiences of remembering past lives, sharing their experience, like maybe they've had contact with ETs, to share that experience in a safe environment. Or maybe they have seen other entities, or they are having out-of-body experiences. But ECETI Ranch, I've read a lot about that place, and they do have workshops for children. And they have all kinds of options, like you could just go camp at ECETI Ranch. You're basically guaranteed to have a UFO sighting while you're there. And then they just have all kinds of great like spiritual workshops that you can send your children to. So I just think that that's like the biggest thing, is of course getting out in nature, teaching your children what is accessible right here on Earth. So integrating that into your life, but also really making them feel validated and safe when they share some kind of experience with you that seems like it may be otherworldly or paranormal, just to really help them feel safe and encourage them and, you know, just, yeah, encourage them and love them and help them feel safe. And so that they will trust that their experience is in fact real. So they will not start, you know, learning that kind of stuff is just fantasy, okay? That's really important. And yeah. So what else do I have? Yeah, I don't know. I basically said most of it. I just think that it is important to teach your children that there is more than meets the eye here on Earth. And of course, we are here on Earth to live a human experience and really for our souls to evolve and grow and learn. And the human experience is a unique one that really allows for souls to grow and evolve and learn. And I think that process is made a lot easier if we are exposed to these types of things as children and it's not discouraged or shunned. So I would say that those are some of my tips on how to make this more integrated with your children. And of course, if you have any further questions or comments, please leave it in the comment section below. And maybe sometime soon I can get my daughter on here again, and maybe I can get her to share some of her experiences that she's had. But of course, I'm not going to pressure her. It's only if she really feels like sharing those types of things with my viewers. So thank you so much for your feedback and input. I really appreciate it. It really gives me a great idea of the direction that I should be going on my YouTube channel. And with that, I'll let you guys go and have a great day. Bye, guys.